Hello, Steve White, Steve White's 89. Well, what is KIWIGATE, you might ask? Well, KIWIGATE is the first time I was cancelled by Polite Gay Society, basically. Or the Gaysian Society, the Gaysian Mafia, whatever you want to. I'm not sure of any of the correct terms, but it started 10 years ago. I had started my second era of clubbing. I'd met a guy, became friends, and he was a regular, and I started going out for him and a friend. The guy's nickname was Kiwi, and I won't mention any real names in this, I guess, to protect the innocent. And we go out every week to the clubs, and we got on fairly well. When the main sort of friend went away for a while, we still went out without him. And so forth and so on. We were friends, and we got to a point. There was a couple of reasons this happened. One was there was a joke. Kiwi drove, and no one else did. I don't drive. I don't have a license. I don't have a car. The other friend, I know he doesn't have a car. I don't know if he has a license or not. But so he was always driving us everywhere to all the clubs and everything. And this friend would refer to the other friend as the Kiwi taxi. Now, I kind of thought that was cute or funny. I didn't think too much about it. I assumed he was in on the joke. He wasn't. So one day I referred to him as the Kiwi taxi, and he was pretty upset about that. I found out afterwards. He didn't say anything at the time, because like some stereotypical people, very passive aggressive. Some gays. And so forth and so on. So I didn't realise I had stepped in anything. And unfortunately, my friend didn't stand up and say, "Oh, I started that. I was saying that." He repeated it, not realising you weren't in on the joke. He wasn't trying to insult you. He just didn't understand that I was saying this behind your back, and it wasn't like a joke that was being shared. So I didn't know what I was saying, and there was an assumption of racism in it that apparently, like the idea that, because Kiwi is Asian, the idea that they were taxing us white guys, like there was some sort of assumption behind that which had nothing to do with anything from my side. It was just something someone had been saying for months, and I just referred to it not knowing it was something that they were saying behind their back. For whatever reasons, because Kiwi had a bit of a temper, so it might have been as innocent as that. It may have been something more, I don't know. So this was bubbling and I didn't know. And then we got to an event. The second Sex and the City film. Being gays, we all had to go see it. Now, I had wanted to see it with a friend of mine. God, I'm going to start making up names for people because it's getting too many people. We'll call him Tito. It's a dumb name, but yeah. So we had been Sex and the City friends. We would talk in dialogue from the film and all that. We sort of, from the movies and the first film, we knew everything about it. And when the film came out, I was like, we should go see it together. And it's like, I've already said I'd see it with a friend. I'm like, are you serious? Some female friend had gotten in ahead of me, one of the gays. So I wasn't very happy. So I had a scheme. I thought, okay, I'm going to ask everyone to go see this film and then present that to him, and see if he chooses this one female over all his gay friends. Well, I got my friend to make a Facebook event, and a bunch of us all went together, and he ended up coming with us and ditching his female friends. So I won. So we go there and we go in, and of course we're late because, like, herding cats, there was a lot of gays, there was a problem, blah, 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 dramas. So we got there incredibly late. The wedding scene had already started, so we walked into the cinema while the movie was on. It'd only been on for about 3 minutes. But, and by the way, the cinema was about 10 minutes walk from this person's house, or maybe 15. So, herding gay cats, it's a nightmare. So we go, and I was trying to get next to my friend so we could sit and be like talking the whole time, like, oh my God, this happened, that happened, oh, Miranda did this, And I couldn't maneuver it, and I ended up, because I'm so polite and courteous, ended up being the first person down and on time, and urgent, had a sense of urgency about me. I ended up being the first person to go in the aisle, and I ended up sitting next to a stranger and Kiwi. Now, Kiwi had never seen Sex and the City, didn't know anything about it. So I wasn't very happy because I didn't get to talk to my friend who was sitting Tito was 3 people down, and sitting next to a friend of the main guy. I guess I've got to give him a name as well. God, what do I call him? I can't even of his name. Let's just call him John. So John is sitting next to Kiwi and John's friend, and then Tito on the end. I think there might have been someone else, I can't remember. But so I wasn't impressed. I was like looking past Kiwi and everyone else occasionally to acknowledge some big moment in the film, but I really felt like I wanted to be sitting next to him so I could be whispering his ear, oh my God, and we could be talking without interrupting anyone. So I got a bit annoyed with him, and then I found out later Kiwi messaged me, and this is back when people talked on Messenger. This is 2010, so we were always talking every night on Messenger and that because we were friends. And he was telling me how Tito had hooked up with John's friend, which is why he was sitting next to him, why he didn't sit next to me. And because I'm like, why didn't you come and follow me? Like, it's like he didn't like follow, so we'd be sitting next to each other. He waited and then sat on the other side of John and John's friend. Because being, I the whole bros before hoes. I'm a bros before hoes kind of guy. You go out with your friends, you stick with them, you don't like run off for a hookup. So they were, and I was not impressed. So I messaged him, I said, oh, so you ditched me to hook up with John's friend. Right. Bros before hoes, basically. And he went insane. Now, Tito is Italian, and he has a temper, especially when he's had some red wine. So I guess he was drunk, and he was going crazy, like atomic crazy, like 50 messages, or 15 or 20 messages, but this is so long ago, text messages were only short, so you get it, one message would be broken up into like 3, so he had like 20 messages come through. How dare you sort of question my relationship with this person, because they've been together 10 seconds. How dare you do this, all this insaneness, and Kiwi's messaged me saying, talk to him, like, I'm waiting for him to calm down. And then he did a really, because I guess Tito did a really bad thing. I guess Kiwi's in the middle, and he's trying to stop this blowing up, especially since he caused it by gossiping and telling me what had happened. And at some point, I can just hear him doing this, Tito basically snapped back at him and said, oh, he doesn't even like you. He didn't even want to sit next to you in the film. So what I said to Tito the next day was, I was so pissed off he didn't sit next to me. I was sitting next to Kiwi and a stranger. I may as well have been there by myself because I had no one to talk to about the film, because he didn't know anything about the characters or the episodes. He'd never seen the show. And there was a stranger on the other side of me. So he turned around and said that I didn't even want to sit next to Kiwi. Basically that like I was too good for him, or he wasn't a friend, or I just didn't want to sit next to him in a cinema, which came across as somehow that I thought I was better than him or something. So that was the last straw for him. He stopped talking to me. He didn't tell me he stopped talking to me, however. He just stopped talking. Now, he never said much anyway. But because he owned the car, he had the power. And he let it be known to everyone I was not to be invited to anything or to be anywhere that he was. And considering that he was driving everyone everywhere, no one could invite me to anything, because then they would have to walk or they would not be included in the group. Basically, he was using the car to control the group, to have me excluded, because he felt that I thought I was better than him. He probably thought it was a racist thing. He probably thought, I think that's what it came down to. I think a lot of minorities are insecure because of a lot of racism, and they assume that first before other issues. So I'm speculating because we've never spoken. And this is the whole point of KIWIGATE. What makes KIWIGATE remarkable is that he has given me the silent treatment now for 10 years. We had mutual best friends for years, mutual regular friends, mutual associates. We've been in the same parties, the same events, the same conversations for the last decade, probably with the last 2 years, actually. I think I've maybe seen him twice in the last couple of years. But a good 8 solid years where we was in the same groups. Silent treatment, wouldn't acknowledge my existence. I could speak to him, he wouldn't acknowledge me. He wouldn't reply. He would just pretend like I was not there. Now, to do that on a scale in a social setting like that, in a small group, is kind of phenomenal. That's why I started doing I called this KIWIGATE, because everything's a gate, so this is KIWIGATE. And I started to celebrate it each year with an annual graphic meme saying KIWIGATE, 1, 2, 3, and now it's up to 10, because it's the 20th anniversary, the 10th anniversary, 2010 to 2020. So every year I do this to kind of acknowledge the effort that it took, or is still taking, to just blacklist me on the gay scene and the gay Asian scene, at least in his circles, and to ignore me and pretend like I don't exist. Now, the last time I remember being, there's certain gay venues that all the gays go to, and I would go to in Melbourne. One of the ones is the Emerson. One of the last times I remember seeing him was he was sitting at the Emerson talking to one of my prime haters. Did I mention I have haters? That's right, I have haters. Because this is not the first time I've been cancelled on the gay scene. Technically, Kiwi would have probably been my first hater, really. Although I've had several eras on the gay scene and several circles and groups of friends, and so I've probably been cancelled before we had social media and could cancel people properly. But yeah, so I suffered really badly from this. Fortunately, right afterwards, because this, I think, was May this happened, because the film opened in May, I think, and then within a couple of weeks I was gone. I fortunately started to date someone later in the year, and I spent most of the next 2 years with him. So I didn't notice so much that I was cut out of this group, because I couldn't really go out and do all that anyway, because I was working I was a full-time student, I was dating this guy, and I was also working in his restaurant, even though I wasn't getting paid and actually doing proper hours or anything, but because I was dating him and it was his thing, I sort of had to help. So I had no time anyway. So, and then eventually John and Kiwi kind of fell out on some level anyway, and they stopped going out every week, and Kiwi sort of dropped off the scene and became more private. I know, I'm not on his Facebook, he keeps being sent up as a friend, but the last time I saw him, I think, was at Emerson. He was just sitting with actually no, that was years before that. He was just sitting with some people, and I was sort of in that group for a minute, but of course he didn't acknowledge me. The other time I remember we were at Free Faces, not Free Faces, what is it? That was an old club, Chasers, on the 3rd level, because there was an event and they'd opened up the one of the dance floors, because they've got 3 of them that they only open every now and again. And I was sitting with 4 other people and Kiwi, and of course he was pretending like I didn't exist. And this was probably 2 years ago. So the point of this video is just because I wanted to share this story for anyone who's been cancelled on the gay scene or who's had some sort of clique and that sort of drama. And let me just say that my understanding of the gay community is that it's basically just a giant school ground of mean girls. And basically the problem with the gays is they never really grow up, because unless they have kids, which they usually don't, you never really get out of that child mentality. Like straight people, they kind of have to. They have kids and they get shocked into this adulthood, whether they're prepared for it or not. Gay people, they never quite get there. They just stay in, they just Peter Pan all the way through it all. And it's basically like being on the gay scene. It's like just being in the schoolyard again. You just never leave high school. It just keeps going. And for a while, I was one of the cool kids. I got along with everyone. Everyone liked me. I think there's a lot of issues there I'm going to talk about as separate videos, because I'm going to do some videos about the politics of the gay scene, because I spent 10 straight years clubbing, 10 straight years, several nights a week, every week for 10 years, before Grindr and that era, and then after and where we're at now. So I have a bit of a perspective, and I'm going to do some videos on that, partly just because I want to share this stuff, and also just because, I don't know. But so that's my KIWIGATE story. It's the 10th anniversary of KIWIGATE. I don't know if it will ever end, but I almost overlooked it. I should have done this months ago, but because of the pandemic, I forgot all about it. I mean, just in the face of great human tragedy, other human tragedies get forgotten. And KIWIGATE was nearly one of them. I'm just getting in 2 days before the end of the year, although technically I've got till May of next year to celebrate the 10th anniversary before it's the 11th anniversary, and I guess I'll keep doing it. I figure I'm going to do it every year he doesn't talk to me. I'm going to do it just because, why not? But yeah, so that was my first cancellation on the gay scene, and I remain cancelled. I've been cancelled several times by a few other people, and there's a couple other stories there, which I'm going to tell as well, because I find it's fascinating. I feel like I've managed to gain some insight into the gay scene and politics and psychology of just groups and that just through living through this stuff. I do want to talk about it. I think it's interesting, and it just helps to share. So here we go. We're about to hit the New Year's 2021, and this is like one of my last videos for the year. And I just wanted to talk about this. So feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Maybe you can ding the little bell. You'll hear the other stories. I'm sure you're so excited. This has made me feel better. To extend it beyond a meme to doing a video to commemorate it, because I was friends with this person. I cared about this person. I never intended anything wrong. It was a matter of other people doing things and misbehaving where they didn't tell the truth about things they said that I got blamed for, or they made up things to try and win someone and turn someone in an argument. And that's really wrong. So we really should have stayed friends. This shouldn't have happened. And I would like to think one day somehow we can at least be on terms where he acknowledges my existence. That's all I'm hoping for at this point. One day. Maybe by the 20th anniversary, who knows. But yeah, don't say gays can't hold a grudge. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Like I said before, even ding the bell. It does help. Thanks.